Well, hello there, and welcome to another edition of Warbird Wednesday. My name is Fred Bell. I am the Vice Chairman of the Palm Springs Air Museum, and today we are going down, and this is going to be a tour de force. Greg, tour de force. My flowchart assistant. We are going to not only do a lot of reconnaissance airplanes, we're going to do surveillance aircraft, all the way up to modern times. Now, you may have been asking me why we did the Argus last week. You are going to see that we were taking you down the tech tree here, and we are now going to explain why we did Argus. So, but first, really? Yeah, really? Craig's like, yeah, just tough it out. Okay, I think he's given up any semblance of tying to anything. But I'm going to go ahead and pull this off and toss it off camera. That actually had some mass to it. Now, we today are doing the Storch or the Storch, the Fieseler aircraft. It's an observation aircraft that, Greg, had an Argus engine in it. There you go. Closure, as they would say. So the Storch had a Argus engine in it. And remember, Argus, when we talked about them on a reconnaissance basis, they were on the small end of the powertrain. They weren't up there with Maybach or Mercedes or BMW building the super high powertrains. They were building like 4 cylinders down to these little 2-stroke lawnmower engines, whatever they were, and strangely enough, as we talked about, drivetrains for Tiger tanks. I still can't figure out how that works. But with the Fieseler, the Storch, probably butchered that, we are now looking at something completely different. In 1935, the Luftwaffe and the Reich Air Ministry came out with a requirement for an observation aircraft. And of course, you had German resurgent aircraft manufacturing that jumped into this requirement. You had the ME BF-163 that came into being, and the SI-201, and of course, Fieseler with the Storch. Now, Reinhold Muse and Erich Bachem were the designers. Those are like really good, strong German names. They were the designers, and they came up with an aircraft. If you look at it, I'll throw up a plan view in the airplane. It is really big. If you think about a Piper or a Stinson or another aircraft, which I would call this like a liaison aircraft, which liaison in those days was reconnaissance airplane, observation. It's much bigger than the Pipers and the Stinsons of the day. It had a larger wing, but its real asset, the true asset, were 2 things, Greg. I'm going to tell you about 2 interesting features on the aircraft. This slatted wing, the slat across the front, and then a hinge slat on the back. And what that allowed to do was on short takeoff and landing, you could change the wing shape, and that is what made this airplane so amazing. It could way outperform those other aircraft in terms of its short field performance, but it was heavier. Now, the other thing that you could do with the good old Storch is these wings were hinged and they would tuck in back behind the airplane that way, and then you could hook it up to motorcycle or whatever, or haul it around anywhere. So it was really mobile aircraft. It wasn't until the C model that they came in with this kind of clear plex top and a rear firing machine gun, as you could see there. I would not want to be anywhere where you needed the machine gun in this. This thing was relatively slow. It was unarmored, and it was good for observation. We'll leave it at that. It's the wing now Greg, was actually inspired by Junkers. If you remember, a lot of the Junkers wings, they had slotted flaps and these wing slats on the leading edge, and our two dear German designers with Fieseler kind of took that and adapted that to this aircraft. It was first flown in 1936, so it flew fairly early. It was introduced in 1937, and there were 2,900 of these aircraft built. Now I'm going to tell you what it is best known for, and some Fred fun facts about not only the Germans produced this aircraft, if you can believe that, which is kind of crazy. One of my phrases that I use. Now, if you were an observation pilot at that time, and you had Bazooka Joe with his Piper that was shooting at tanks and all this kind of stuff, you were kind of a madman, because you were going to get shot at, and most likely you had a good chance of dying. A much higher percentage chance of dying in one of these aircraft than you did in a fighter, if you can believe that, or a bomber, because so many of these airplanes were lost at low level. Guys got into trouble, they're no power, they got hit. And so the salute today is, if you were in a scout aircraft at low level, there was a good chance that you could get hit by rifle fire. I mean, it was that big a chance. So we want to salute these reconnaissance pilots, because it took a special breed to fly those. Even today, Greg, we have a Piper, a Cub that just came in. It has a 200-pound, which obviously, it has a 200-pound weight limit. Think about that. Back in the day, how much weight you could actually carry in these things. It wasn't much. But first, with that salute, I am going to show unfiltered Bruce Cost ginger ale. What is unfiltered? Is there any alcohol in this? This is pomegranate with hibiscus. It has a very strange color, kind of a rust color, 160 calories. So if you were a reconnaissance pilot, and I'm not talking about the big boys, if you were a scout pilot, and I'm going to say even into the 1950s, because I'm going to tell you how these aircraft were used all the way up into the 1950s, I salute you. I think that's gone. Either that, or it's one of those where you just start serving me gruel. Oh, the odor on that is awful. You get poison control line on this one. Wow, the odor on that is just terrible. But we always take one for the team, even when Greg gets me something that's nasty. I don't know exactly what's wrong with that, but I can't believe that someone would sell something that smells like that. Anyways, but I drank it. What can I say? So, the Germans used these to great effect during the war. Obviously, the big one was 1943 with Mussolini, getting out of there. Now, the interesting Fred fun fact on that is the Germans had actually dispatched a helicopter for that mission. And the helicopter broke down, and the Storch was actually the backup. So think about that for a second. That early in the war, if that helicopter had actually made it there, that's pretty amazing. The Storch was the backup, if you can believe that. So, but it's best known for that. It managed to get out of there, and it kind of went into history. Now, the interesting thing about it with this aircraft, as I said, from most of the variants were Cs that produced from 1937 to 1945. But the Soviets built this aircraft under license, under prototypes under license. The Czechs built 138 of them. These are like, Fred fun facts are just rolling out here. The French had 925 of them. Now, the interesting thing about the French is they flew these, and I'm going to tell you, into a war here that you would not think. But another obscure fun fact, a British general used this aircraft as his observation aircraft, and that was Montgomery. Actually used a Storch. So that gives you an idea of how good these aircraft were. They really were well thought of. The French, though, actually used these up into Indochina from 1945 to 1958. And if you want to talk about dangerous, when you're getting out of World War II and you're getting into an era of all those automatic weapons and assault rifles, and this aircraft being so low and unarmored for reconnaissance or observation, I just can't even imagine doing that. It is a well thought of aircraft. It is in a number of different World War II collections of people that have them. If you have one sitting around and you would love to donate it to the Palm Springs Air Museum, we would love to have it. They are in a number of collections. They are not a rare bird by any stretch. There's a number flying. That's probably because they were produced from such a long lifespan. But it is a very unique aircraft. Now, speaking of unique aircraft, Greg, this is a, look at, they're all on the back, a throwback toy, or actually that you can buy. It is a rubber band. We talked about rubber band airplanes in one of the last episodes. This goes all the way back to when I was a kid. This is a Focke-Wulf FW190. It is a flying model kit with balsa and tissue. If you want to, and all of the ribbing is on the back, maybe Greg can actually show that. They can show them without their tissue on there. If there is ever a time where you will find the patience of Job, it is building one of these. These have to be one of the hardest things in the world to build. They are tons of fun. I would build them and, as I said, break them numerous times. Because they're made out of tissue and balsa, I can tell you things that we could do to them that I'm not going to talk about on YouTube, but it involves smoke. And we would pretend they would fly and get shot down. We were kids. Do not do that at home. When we were kids, we were bad children. But go out, click on the link on one of those, and Jason can have that sent over to your house. This direct to you, but this is pretty cool. I may actually buy one of these and see if I still have the chance to, or the visual acuity to build one. Now, if you came across us on YouTube, all we do are military aviation videos. We do them in one take. There's not a lot of production, but we do try to throw in a lot of little known information. If you came across us on YouTube, give us a subscription. We really need the subscriptions. If you know somebody that likes Warbird aircraft and can tolerate the really foul-smelling drink and the crazy hats, but is interested in aviation and Warbird aviation, forward us on over. Facebook, we love the likes. We love the comments. We'll respond back to you. All of our videos have teacher's guides attached to them. If you got kids at home and you want teaching aids, they are attached to the videos. We want you to take advantage of that. And we can't do all this cool stuff or these cool models or all these cool exhibits without your support. So if you have a few quarters laying around in the couch, click on that link, send us a few shekels. We could certainly appreciate it. My name is Fred Bell. I am the Vice Chairman of the Palm Springs Air Museum. Thanks so much. Have a great day.